Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. So let's see. Hey, Karen, you're the first one to arrive, and it's evening for you. So thank you so much. And my mom is here. Okay, good. Okay, good. I'm just gonna duck my head for 1 second. Hey, Terry. My whole gang is here. Hold on. Just want to make sure. Hopefully, you're not seeing the top of my head. Okay, where are we? Where are we? All right, hold on 1 second. I'm trying to get so if you guys had a question, I can see it over here. So, okay, and Suzanne, oh my goodness, I'm so glad you're here. So all you girls are in the class right now, and I have to say, oh my goodness, I am so blown away by all of your beautiful art. It's amazing. It's incredible. So I know sometimes Jean takes some photos from inside the Facebook group, so I'm so excited for her to pop in and see how awesome it is. Hey, Roxanne. I just can't even get over it. It's so good. You guys are having so much fun, and I'm super excited. Every time you guys post, I get all excited. All right, so let me just check this over here, and I'm super stoked on, okay, here we go. I see me, and every time I duck, I see that too. Okay, so I'll get started. I'll stop my babbling. I have had a couple weeks of just painting on paper, and I want to share a little story on that too. I often when I paint big, so I'll paint big, and I did 3 big canvases over the last few months. I did Tomorrow's Hope, otherwise known as Lily Arneal, Arlyn, not Arneal, Arlyn. I did the Serenity one and the Blue Flowers, and that took me months and months, and I was always sort of working big and standing up and working at a certain process. And then once those are done, I like to paint small, and I like to paint small because it gives you like a whole new perspective in painting. And you're sort of sitting in a smaller area and with smaller brushes. And what happened was last week, I was so frustrated. I just hated everything I was doing. I would spend hours in my studio hating it all and couldn't figure out what was happening, because I saw an image in my head and I couldn't get it onto paper. So what I did was I just started experimenting and just pushing through. And so when you guys are working on something and you think it's butt ugly, usually something beautiful is on the other side of it. So I just keep encouraging you guys, colors, different palettes, and I was really happy. So the last few days I've been super stoked on my work, and even so much as yesterday, I had this big meal plan for Father's Day. So I had to set a timer on my phone to literally stop painting and go into the kitchen and work. So anyway, it's been really fun. I wanted to show you, the first thing that happened was, it was a color palette choice that I switched a little bit. I usually paint really bright, and I'm going to show you some of those papers that I have that I did bright. And then I kept thinking there's something that I wanted to switch up. And so what I did was I added weight to my art, and then I layered on top of the weight. So I'll show you that too. But what I've been gravitating towards is this. This is one of the canvases I've been showing you guys, but I've been really gravitating towards these soft pinks and light blues and golds and greens. And I can't tell you why, but I looked over on my inspiration board the other day, and they were all the same colors. So sometimes you could be working with your same colors over and over, and all of a sudden you want to switch something up, but you don't know what. That's a good way to sort of see if you want to experiment. So I usually paint really bright, and I wouldn't say I've dulled it down, I've just sort of taken it on a little bit of a paler route. So this is sort of how it all started percolating, was over here. And the way I do these little minis is I put my paper on this board. Okay, I'm gonna put this down, and you're gonna see that in a minute, but that's how I sort of work. And I wanted to show you, before I show you the little minis, Well, here's a cute little mini right now. I'll show you, and then we'll, because they're so much fun. This is one I posted this morning. It looks gigantic next to my face, but actually this is 5x7. It's 5x7, it's a little guy. So how I get started on paper is a few things, and I will put these in the comments so you guys have them. I use Fabriano 140-pound hot press watercolor paper. And this is, just so you know, like this is how it comes. I ordered this from Blick, and it comes in, it's not rolled, but it comes in, you know, nice cardboard packaging. It's never been dented. Nothing's ever happened to it. And so this was on sale, and you get 3 pieces for 4 pieces for the price of 3. The paper is not cheap. It usually, when you buy it this way, it averages out to be about like $7 each. But then what I do is I take my tear bar, and then I put it down, I measure it, and I just rip off like this. I'll do a demo maybe next week. I use the tear bar to sort of tear it. You can also use an X-Acto knife, and that's not a problem at all. You just want to have something underneath your surface when you're cutting it. And I cut my paper an inch around, an inch or a half inch around to get my 5x7 sheet. So I use that. Another paper that I also found that I do like too is, you can find this in art stores, is the Studio watercolor. And you know, this is a lot cheaper, but it's Fabriano, and they sell it at the art stores right now, but you got to make sure it says hot press. Absolutely, you can do anything you want in cold press. Cold press has a lot more tooth and texture. I just happen to like it smooth. I love the way the acrylics work on it, and so this is another one. I've had this for a while. And then my friend Betty, who's Betty Krause, who you guys might know, who's one of my favorite artist friends, she uses Bristol board. So Bristol board paper, and you can buy that in a pack as well. So okay, that's my paper, and what I'm gonna do is show you guys some of my little minis, and I'm gonna show you last week, and I'm gonna show you this week, and then some of the art supplies I'm using, okay? So I'm gonna tip this over. Oh wait, before I forget. So look at these gorgeous sweet peas. Okay, so sweet peas, totally off topic. A little tip on the sweet peas. These are the best sweet peas I've had ever in my garden. And I'm trying to figure out like why they're so amazing, beautiful, long stemmed. Okay, so I planted these in March, and I'm thinking the earlier the better. So Terry, in Belgium over there, Terry, I think the earlier the better. I don't know why, but last year when I planted them late, they were small and they didn't last that long. So here's a little color inspiration. There is some bougainvillea in there too. They're almost like sisters. They're so close. Oh, and this one is that Love in the Mist. Okay, Love in the Mist is gone to seed. That is what it looks like when it goes to seed. Is that so cute? So I don't know if you can hear that. This is, you can open that up and sprinkle it everywhere. This is, it's called Love in the Mist. It's one of my favorite little flowers. It's done blooming, but they also are cute in a bouquet. I just wanted to share a little inspiration with you guys on this very, very foggy day. If you can see outside, it is gray. Don't like the gray. All right, so hold on. I'm gonna flip this around. Just bear with me so we can get ourselves organized here. I'm gonna show you, it's freaky. I'm gonna show you some work and some of the tools that I've been using. I'm gonna put my glasses on so I can see if you guys have any questions. So hold on. I hope you're having a good Monday so far. All right, give me 1 second. Okay. Whoa, that is a creaky thing. All right, do I have this the right way? So, Hi, Rosemary. I don't know if you're Rosemary or Rose. I'm glad you're here. Alrighty, so this was, and I'll know in a second if we are straight. The laptop is a tiny bit, or somebody's behind. Let's blame it on the laptop. Okay, so these little guys I did last week, and I'm just gonna go through them. I didn't have a good job tearing with my tape, and I'm going to talk about my tape in a little bit. These are experiments, and I just wanted to share with you how I sort of started. I put down inks, so I use High Flow, and I use Amsterdam and Daler-Rowney, and this is what a Daler-Rowney bottle looks like. This is what an Amsterdam looks like. And then the other is the High Flow Golden. And so I put down my colors. And then on this one, I went in with a Micron pen up here. I was doing some of my shapes, very similar to my canvas. I sort of treated this like a little mini canvas. And I just went in and added layers and layers and layers. And then I stopped. And I did all 8 at once on one board that I'll show you guys. I'll bring it over and take some tape off and show you. So this is one of them. I thought it was cute. I liked how this looks on the white back here. Sort of gives it a little bit of a grounding up here, so I like that one. This one, I thought this was really cute. It was very different for me, especially with the green and the orange. I don't know if you can see it, I'm gonna do this. There's some metallic in here. So Amsterdam makes a great gold metallic. And also there's some pearlescent shimmering ones from Daler-Rowney. These, I believe, it's with a paint pen or a little tiny brush. And somebody was asking me yesterday on one of my posts, and I can't remember, but how I got these marks. So I'm gonna put it a little closer so you guys can see it. That's just with a little pencil. So that's probably taking a pencil and, you know, just going in there and going like that. Then this one, I like this one too. I like the green next to this really beautiful magenta color, and then gray is always a great complement with pink. I love gray and pink together. I also don't use gray a ton, but I like to use it in little splotches. So it was fun there. And then of course I always try to add a little orange. So this was fun. And now this is another bad tape job. So I'm going to show you all my mistakes. So this is because I ripped the tape off way too fast. I was so excited. I was in a big hurry. Not so great. But on the good side, on the other side, when you do rip your own paper with a tear bar, you often get this really pretty edge. So that's the advantage of using a tear bar. If you want your edge to be really crisp and clean, then use an X-Acto knife. Okay, so this one here is like the blue family. I have different things going on. I left some of the edges blank. And let's see, I think I did an okay job tearing, but nope, not right there. So that's all practice. I'll probably, you know, end up sending these ones as cards or doing something with them or keep working on them. But you can see in here on the layering of the inks, you can really start to get that transparent look sometimes on canvas. For those who are taking my class, I know we do a lot of ink work, and on canvas, it really soaks in the ink. But on paper, especially this hot press, you can really start to get these beautiful fluid, translucent, like not translucent, but yeah, translucent, transparent. It's Monday morning. Look and feel, and I love how you can layer in the inks like that. This was literally taking, you know, next week I'm actually going to do a demo, a real demo, and use it. But the black was literally taking the stopper bottle and drawing with it. So that was fun. So that one was a blue one. And then I've got some pink, more pink ones in here. This one, I think I overworked it, but I want to show you all the different kind of tools I was using. So I've got inks down here, and I have pencil marks. These are all colored pencil marks. Little white, probably paint pens. I've added a little blue here. It's a little rough, but you know, again, I was just practicing. I think of these as my journal pages right now until I really feel like I love what I'm doing. This one I haven't finished, and I kind of like it. I just let it go. I didn't do any more on it, but just sort of working on some shapes and patterns here. A lot of times, okay, so you see this texture right here? How I get that texture, oh, and here's that piece. Okay, how I get that texture is I put my ink down, and I go like this, and I wipe it off. Then I pull it off, and then I know that I'm going to use this in something. Either as a little piece of art the way it is, or I'm going to cut it up and make it into some tags. Nothing goes to waste, but I always encourage, especially if you guys are trying this out, try to having a piece of paper nearby that you can blot stuff off. So that's one way to, you know, get a new mark. So there's a mark that was sort of done organically. And then here's just some, I don't know, it looks like a head or something. It's kind of fun, but there's that gold. I don't know if you can see that shiny. It's so pretty. So that's the Amsterdam light gold. And then here's just a few little marks with some pencils. And then really faint in there are some other pencil lines. There's a really bad tear job. So whatever I was using on this one, it bled through. So that's a no-no. So if I was gonna do anything with this, I would just take it, it's not garbage, but I would take, to save it, I would take an X-Acto knife and I would just cut this edge right out. Maybe if it's a piece that you loved and you're so bummed because you did this whole thing and you pulled your tape and it looks like this, then I would take a ruler, I would cut it out, and I would mount it on another piece of paper, like a Bristol board or something a little thicker. So that's that one. This one, this is kind of fun, different. I'm just sort of playing with the edges, bringing in the black micron. I don't know if I love when the black is so dark, but just sort of playing around with it. Here, I don't know if you can see it. It's a very light pink, and I'm just doing some white kind of squiggles, some more colored pencils. And here, back here is when I blotted the paper. I blotted some of the ink out. This is another blot sheet I have, so you can see where I've gone in and blotted some things out. And then this one, another not so great on my tape job, and I also kind of made a little bit of a mess in here, but it's fun from a little bit of a distance. And so I just was having fun with lines and shapes, and so these 8 were all together on a board, and I was frustrated because I was working. What was happening was I was layering and layering and layering, and I felt like it was getting really heavy and I wasn't getting what I wanted. And then I talked to my good friend Renee, who I think Renee might be still on there. Hey Renee. Renee Mueller is a really good friend of mine. She's an amazing artist, so go check her out. She said, hey, do this. And this is what I've been doing on my next batch. I can't wait for you guys to see it. She said, put some clear gesso over your paint layer before you start working on with more supplies. So I've been doing this, and let me tell you, it's changed everything about my art. I'm so excited to show you, but there's a few questions I'm going to go check these questions real quick before I show you the next batch, because let's see. Nisha, hey Nisha, what do you use for your clean edges? Okay, I'm going to show you guys the tape in a minute. And Suzanne, can you buy low masking tape here? I don't seem to get the tearing with that. That being said, it looks great. Oh, low tack masking tape. I'm going to show you guys the 3 tapes I have, and Suzanne, maybe send me a photo of that tape. I know you're in Ireland, so I'm sure we have something. And then my mom says I had a problem with blue tape. Yes, I don't like the blue tape. All right, so let me show you some tape stuff. And if you guys just hold on, I'll actually pull some I have 3 different ones with 3 different tapes. I'm gonna pull them right here with you guys so you can see. So I wanted to show you my next batch. I'm gonna do the tape reveal in a minute, but I wanted to show you this next batch and what happened, where I got my Oprah Winfrey aha moment, okay? I'm gonna show you. It could also be when I went to the art store. All right, so I couldn't figure out what the heck was bugging me so much. And I realized, besides it being kind of thick, I think I didn't want it to be that bright. So I'm just gonna move some stuff aside and show you. This is a big board. Okay, so let me just get hold on. All right, so what I did was, this is a piece of foam core, and I know it's kind of not centered on the right ones right now, but it's a piece of foam core. Let's see, I can do it right here. What was happening was, I felt like everything was really bright for me. So I took my white titanium, and I just started painting over areas that were really bright. You can see back here how bright that is. So I was bringing down this sort of feel of it being busy almost, and I just literally brushed it on with some paint. And then once I was done with this, I added the clear gesso. And adding the clear gesso has really helped me because it sort of gives a little bit of a tooth to your paper, and then once you can go over that with different supplies. So I'm going to show you how I did. My next step was, these are 2 that I like. Here, let's see if I can get them in camera. And I haven't pulled them off this board yet. So what I do is I use a whole bunch of different supplies, and I paint on here, and I do all at once. So there's a lot of these that are in different stages, and here are some of the things that I've been working on. I'm going to do that tape in a minute because that is just regular Scotch tape. I went to the art store. Okay, so during my frustrating time frame, I went to the art store and I started looking at colors without thinking I was looking at colors. So I had my white down, and then what happened was, look at all these yummy things that I went in and just found and bought, and they all are basically similar colors. I wasn't even thinking about it. You know, anything from the Neo crayons to some beautiful pastels. Now, when you're working with the soft pastels, you just have to spray a little fixative down in between. And then also, okay, this was like my favorite product that I'm gonna go buy more of. They're not cheap. This was like $5.50 for this little thing. I almost gasped, but I didn't care. I was so excited. I only got 2 colors. They're an oil pastel. It's a green and a blue, and I'm sure I'll screw that name up. Sennelier. I know that's wrong. Somebody French can tell me how to pronounce that. So these colors are in here. You can see that green and some of the blue over here. It's just this nice, you know, thick, really creamy. Love, love, love it. So I've been working with these a lot this week. The other thing I did that has really changed what I've been doing is I got some new brushes. And I decided to get some brushes and to make sure I'm taking good care of them and separate them from a lot of the brushes that I was doing with my other paints that were getting really kind of gross. That one's actually not a good one, but you know, I paid a little bit more money than I normally would have. I usually get them in packs, so these seem to be the Princeton ones. So the lady in the art store recommended that because I'm doing paper and I like things to be smooth, it's a tie between, it's like a watercolor / acrylic paintbrush. So if you're in the store, you can get soft brushes or you can get more coarse brushes for your acrylic paints. I personally like the soft ones better. And these are so awesome, you guys. And I think it's because they're heavy. This is a heavy handle. It's a Princeton. And I don't know, it just feels so good in my hand. So I got a few of these little small guys. And so now I'm gonna have a separate bucket just for them. The other thing I did was I went and got some fun new pencils. Even though I have a bazillion of them, it's always fun to buy new ones. And look at these colors. They're just perfect. So these ones are also, you can use with watercolor. To make them into watercolor. And then I got another white one, of course, because I need that, like a hole in the head. But it was fun. And so I'm going to show you the different tapes and then show you some of my pieces that I'm really liking. Okay, so this tape right here these are all Scotch tape and then artist tape on top. So I'm going to show you some different examples. All right, so I'm going to put that aside for a minute because I know we have a lot of tape questions. Black handle brush, name and size. Oh yeah, okay, Karen, this is a good one. Hold on, everybody. I'm going to put this up. Okay, so Princeton makes these. It's called an angular shader. It's a mini detailer, maybe because it's little. This is a size 4, but it has this really, really nice feel to it. There's lots of different sizes. I like these little small sizes. There's also an old one. The reason I had bought this one a long time ago, and look how bad I trashed it. So naughty. But this is a round one, and this is a 0. But if you can find these in your art store, I don't know, I'm sure they might be online somewhere. I've only ever seen these in person, so that's them. Okay, now I have to give you guys a disclaimer. I Googled what was the best tape to take off on paper. All right, and that's why I feel bad. I can't remember this woman who I found online, but she did this test. So you can always Google that too. I found this lady, and she recommended Scotch tape, which I was like, Scotch tape? What the heck? I got tons of Scotch tape. The old ones that I showed you earlier, where are they? Let me just get them. My crappy ones were with artist tape. And so I've stopped using this artist tape. This is just a regular artist white tape. And I think what was happening for me personally, it was just pulling a little bit too much and it was bleeding. And you can see right there, it's a little rough. So this is artist tape. Also in her demonstration, so sorry, scratch that. This is Scotch tape. Okay, just regular magic Scotch tape. And so what I did was I wanted a 1/2 inch border. You can buy Scotch tape in different widths. So you can get a 3/4 inch, you could probably get a 1/4 inch. It's totally up to you. But I wanted to get a 1/2 inch border. So that way when I cut my paper, this is 5 across, then I would go 6 by 8. Or if I used a tear bar, it's 6 by 8. So that's one. Then she also did a demo, and you guys, these are ugly. This is just for examples. This is actually a good layer to show you. This is a very early layer before I start doing lots of little stuff, but I was just messing around. This is when I add the white to it. But this is what she recommends, Scotch Expressions. She prefers this over the magic tape. But we shall see. Okay, and then also in her demo, she used regular old Wasby. I can never say that tape. And I wanted to show you that one too. The only problem I run into with this is washi tape. What's the problem? The only thing with this is it was distracting for me. So if you have white or clear tape, that would be great. But this pattern was like, whoa, I was a little distracted. Personally, I'm really distracted by this hot pink too. So, all right, let me show you. I'm gonna pull some and watch my demo be a disaster. But again, I'm just practicing. So I've got my tape down, and what I then do is I'll either leave my edges with my Scotch tape, and I'll use artist tape to do this outer edge, because the Scotch tape is already there to adhere this to a bigger board. And like I showed you, I like working on foam core. And then what I'll do is I'll put a piece of tape. The only problem with this artist tape is it does pull off parts of your foam core too. Maybe you don't care. Foam core is getting ridiculously expensive. So I used to get foam core all the time and use it for lots of stuff. And one sheet of foam core at our art store was $11. And I thought that was ridiculous. So I'm gonna reuse. And this board has been around forever. But that's another thing, or you could put it on a piece of cardboard, whatever you want to. It doesn't really matter. All right, so this is Scotch tape. And I'm gonna find an edge. I can't see it because it's clear, but I'm gonna find an edge. Okay, I'm gonna peel this. And this isn't done, by the way, but I wanna show you this because this was sort of just one of my rough pieces that I had laying around. So the thing about it is you want to, when you're doing this, is you actually really wanna pull them up and not across. I've done, and Renee helped me with that one too, because I have done this so fast and on an angle, and it's been a disaster. So I'm gonna put it down and then bring it up so you guys can see. So I'm just pulling up slowly. And this is a piece that I have done a lot of ink on and paint on. And this is just your typical, you know, $2 or $3 tape. And as my kids would say, this is so satisfying. But you can see the paint. All right. You can see how it looks so nice and smooth, and there's no issues there at all. So this lady, sorry lady, I don't know your name, had a great demo. So I'll do another side here. And so I'm just like holding this down and pulling straight towards me and not at an angle. So all of that artist tape that I was using, I'm scratching and going to Scotch tape. The magic. All right, so here's how beautiful those lines look. Doesn't that look good? You know what's so crazy too is having a little white border just makes things look so pretty. Like all of a sudden I like this now, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay, hopefully you can see and trust me. Where's my camera? Right here. How beautiful that is. The edges, there's no issues. It looks great. So if you wanted to make some art and sell it, then you could sign your name down here and it's beautiful and good to go. So here is the washi tape, and I had no problems with this. I'm gonna pull this. It's easier to pull. I'm gonna pull this so you can see it. Whoopsie, that's a bad pull job. Hold on. I'm gonna put it down and pull it so I really don't wreck my demo. Now, that worked really nicely too. However, if I was like with a microscope and I really wanted to show you guys the difference. I don't know, I would almost say like this is a 10 and that's like a 9.5. But you know, when you're at home and you're just experimenting and having fun, try them both. But again, the magic tape worked for me because I wasn't distracted by the pattern on the other one. Okay, and so this one, this sweet, nice lady did her demo, and she loved this one the most. So this is more expensive. I bought this on Amazon to test it out. This was $6, which is ridiculous. This was like $3. This one is a 3/4 inch, and I really wanted a 1/2 inch, but so I'm gonna do a pull on here, and let's see what happens. So this is what also, when I do the white titanium, what that looks like. You can see it's just a quick coat, and then I would brush on gesso, and then I would paint again. I would keep painting and layering. All right, so this is the pink one. And already there's a tiny bit of, ooh, I don't know. This is fine, it's fine, it's fine, but I don't think it's that fine. So there's a few little areas. Oh gosh, I got a little paint on there. There's a few little areas that I would say I'm not as happy with. So I wouldn't invest in this tape over your Scotch tape, your magic tape. I guess it's called magic tape, but Scotch is the brand. Let's pull another one off and see. Now I don't have any with me with the artist tape, but trust me, it's not worth it because mine all got screwed up. All right, so that's the tape question. Let me just see if, do you let the white dry before? Yes. Julie, hi Julie. Please could you let me know the whole blue color on the paint was acrylic? Oh, okay, Nisha, I'm gonna go back to you in a minute. Okay, Julie, on the, yes, I let this dry. This is my white titanium, and it's just acrylic paint. So once that's on, I go away, I let everything dry, then I brush on the clear gesso, and this is a matte, I think it's a matte, you can't see it, but I brush that on and I make sure this is dry. And then I'm able to use, either I wanna use more paint on top, or I can use crayons and pastels and all that good stuff. So just remember, if you use soft pastels, you want to do a little fixative, because I would, if I was going to do soft pastels, and I think Renee would agree with me, is I would do that at the very end. But you can gesso and paint and do marks and then gesso again. That is up to you, but I do let this dry. And then Nisha, could you let me know the whole blue color on the paper painting was acrylic ink or soft pastel? The color is acrylic ink. The soft pastel, I think this is what you're talking about, are only when I have, and this is the oil pastels, or it could be the soft, let's see. Oh, soft pastel. This is soft, and this is oil. I can just tell because it's a little sticky. These are only for little mark makings. Most of the color that you see is going to be paint or ink. Okay, hopefully I answered you on that one. And Karen says, maybe try masonite drawing board instead of foam core. Yes, totally. The other painting, which has a lot of light blue on it, on the foam core center one. Oh, Nisha, you're so good. Good, thank you for being so detailed. All right, let me bring it back over here. I think you're talking about this one. I'm not 100%. This one, let's see, there's two blue ones here. All this blue back here was done with light blue, and then yes, there's some pastels that are on top of here, and then I'm using actual color pencils. So I've got oil pastels here. Then in here, I've got some soft pastels, but under here is also a baby blue color. It's probably one of my colors that I love. You can see it right here. And then I don't know if you guys can see that this is that awesome oil pastel one I got. So you just want to be careful when you're applying all the different supplies on top. Once you're done with your painting, that you just have to know that there's these things on here and marks, but it also makes it really fun to play around with. So you can see this is a color paint, and then these are just lines on top. Just totally having fun. So let me show you some of the paintings that I'm actually really liking. And I'm gonna be working on these more. Okay, this one is completely crazy different. I'm not done with. This is a dark one, okay? And let's see, I don't even know which way it goes. The things that I like about it are, I like the blacks in here, which is so funny. And I like this bright, what's happening here. And you can see there's ink drips and lots going on. You know, it's not nearly done. I don't know if I'll work on it anymore, but it's just something fun to have. I might stick it on my inspiration board because it is something different. And that's why I encourage you to try different paints and color palettes that you normally wouldn't. So that one's been kind of a fun one, but these are the ones that I'm loving right now. And I'm loving this Pretty in Pink. I would almost call it Pretty in Pink series. So this is the one I posted about this morning. And I want to make sure it's centered in my camera here. And I'll show you the supplies that I used. So I used a lot of pink first. I did some drips in here, and I did some blotting. You can see where the inks look a little bit like little tiny dots. That was all done with some blotting. And then I took my white paint, and then I did some layers. And next week I'll do a demo where I have these in stages, so you can really see like how I actually, build it up. But on here are the soft pastels. I go in and I'll find a little spot. I'll go in and then I'll even rub it a little bit. And you can see it makes these like fun little, tiny little dots. That's like happening up in here. And then the Neo colors, which I love. I did not even know this until I went into the store, but you can buy any color you want as a single crayon. So, I got the 12 pack or whatever it was, and I've been crazy about it. And so I went into the art store and I was staring at all of these colors for like, I don't know how long, but this one is a rose color. And I just love how it's just such a pretty, like peachy, light pink. And, I was just really kind of gravitated towards that color. This one is a, oh my God, is this called a hell? Oh no. That is in a different language, Hell Violet. Periwinkle Blue is the name of this one. And I don't know if I used it on here, but I just really love it. It's just like a light purplish lavender. And so anyway, that's been really fun. And then this one is a turquoise green, which is one of my favorites. And then you can see when I used this beautiful oil pastel on that's that green right there, and it really pops. It's a nice, thick coat. I have it down here with the blue oil pastels, so I really like it. And then also on here, which has been fun, is a little bit of the metallic. So I'm not too sure if you can see that. I ended up buying a couple years ago a 6-pack of these guys, okay? This isn't the exact one because this is shimmering blue, but you can buy these, and I believe this was a shimmering gold. And so what I do is you shake it up, and I don't know if you can tell on camera, but there's just this like little bit of a shimmer color to it. At first you're like, what? There's nothing in there, but you got to really mix it up because it just kind of separates. I really like it on different parts, and it's really fun on the light. So I'm hoping you guys can see what I'm doing here, but right here is just really pretty. So that's one. Let me see if you guys had any questions on that one. I have to kind of go up and down. I asked you about the paper buckling. Oh yes, Julie, I'm going to talk about the paper buckling. I wrote that down. And what product you like to seal those when you're finished? Okay, I'm going to tell you guys all about, oh Sandra, you have that colored good? Okay, so sealing and buckling we're going to talk about in a minute. All right, these are smaller pieces. And you know, the thing that's so funny is that here I am trying to tape up my art and make it look so beautiful. And then I did find that I loved these pieces like extras. These were when you cut up your big piece of paper and you do your 6x8s, you have a few pieces left over. And these were my leftover pieces that I probably had scrapped, and now I love them. So anyway, who knows what that's all about. This one, I'm not too sure which direction it goes in. Hold on one second, I'm just gonna move that down. I'm not too sure which direction it goes in. It could go this way, or it could go that way. For some reason, I think I like this way. And this was the first one I did where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna add a bunch more stuff to it. I really liked how plain it is and simple, but yet there's so much detail under here. I'm not too sure if you guys can see all that. I have my blotting that is done. So you can see like the blot lines. And then I took that white ink, the white high flow over it, okay? And then I left some circles. When I did my white ink, I used that really pretty, beautiful, soft brush. And I just, you know, went like that. And I just left some of the bright goodness underneath. Here's where I have the oil pastels, and you can just see how bright and beautiful they are. So I won't go over these pastels with anything else. And I think those were just some lines I did. And I really liked how this one looked. So I did that one. And then I worked on this guy. Again, this was a leftover sheet that I really liked. And there's some drips I was doing, and a lot of this work I do on my canvas. I just brought it to the paper. And I really like these. So now I'm going to take that board that you saw earlier, and I'm going to layer in all of this stuff onto the board with the actual taped pieces so I can actually make some pretty ones this week. So, okay, so on the sealing and what I do when I'm done with this. So if I'm done with this, which I like, I would then add another layer of gesso to it. And before I would do that though, I would do some fixative if I had some soft pastels. So I'd probably add another layer of the clear gesso. And if I didn't want to do the clear gesso and I was finished with it completely, then I have my archival spray fixative that I use. And I don't have it right here in front of me, but it's what I use on all my canvases for painting, because that way, you know, things are kind of set. But you can try the clear gesso, and also if you're doing the gesso, just be careful around some of your pastels that you have, you know, do the fixative and then do it, or you can also use the spray. And I'll be kind of experimenting with that next week, and I'll be able to give you guys some better results of it. So again, I'm just sort of like using different tools to see what I like the best. But as far as the buckling, Julie and I were chatting about this, and I also asked Renee, and I got online to Strathmore, and they recommended the same thing. So if your paper buckles, these aren't really buckling for me, but if your paper did buckle, like if you used a lot of water and you actually had watercolor paint and it buckled a little bit, what is recommended you do is you have a clean sheet of paper and you put your painting down, and then you give it, let's see, Renee, if I've got this right, you do a light spray, like you take a mister bottle and you spray it, and then you put a piece of newsprint down, or you put the piece of newsprint down first and then you spray it. But it's just light. It's not drenched. It's not soaked. And then what you can do is put like a book or something on top to sort of to flatten it out. And what it will do is it just stretches that paper back to like more of a flat area. Especially when you tape off your art, what's happening is things are going to expand when you paint, and then you take the tape off, and then you're going to see maybe a buckle. So try that. You just flip it upside down. I think I would put newsprint down first, spray, or if you don't have newsprint, you could probably do like a piece of tracing paper or a light piece of paper, just spray, and then put another maybe white sheet of paper on it and a book or something like that, and then just check. You just don't want to drench it, and that should do the trick. So let me just see if there's any other questions, and I'm gonna flip you guys around. It was probably a good thing I actually didn't do the demo, but I will do a demo next week. So what I'll do is, so I'm still playing around. I'm still experimenting. I'm having fun. I'm trying to do my own thing and go with like what feels good, what I'm liking, remember what I'm liking, and if it's frustrating, like why is it frustrating? And then I was talking to somebody earlier today. Sometimes when you're having a hard time and you don't know what's wrong, go away from it, come back to it, and then you make a move, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, the move, that's what I needed to do. And for me, it was adding the white paint to just bring everything back down, and then slowly start layering things on top. So I love to layer. I make many, many marks in all of my artwork, and so I'm just having fun with that. And so what I'll do next week is I will do like a step-by-step, so you can see how I start. And if you guys have any comments, or if you have any tips and tricks for everybody, you can let us know in the comments. And anyway, so I really appreciate you guys hanging out and hanging in hanging in for that hour. I think it was like an hour. I'm sure somebody wants breakfast in my household. But and I will talk to you soon. And don't forget, send me any comments if you have any questions of any of the process, okay? And I will see you next week here at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And hopefully it's nice and sunny, and I can show you some more flowers, all right? Okay, take care. Mwah! Thanks for coming. I'll see you soon. Bye.